Hello everybody, Pastor Jeff here with the Word on Wednesday. Our scripture reading for this week comes from the epistle reading for this last Sunday, the first Sunday of Christmas. It's from Galatians Chapter 4. St. Paul writes, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, in order to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as children. And because you are children, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, 'Abba, Father.' So you are no longer a slave, but a child. And if a child, then also an heir through God." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. What we have here in this beautiful reading from Galatians is the Christmas story according to St. Paul. This is the only place in all of Paul's many, many letters where he makes any kind of reference to Jesus' birth. Paul seems to be much more interested in the why of Jesus' birth and what it all means for us that Jesus was born than he is of the how of Jesus' birth. But here in Galatians 4, we get his one and only reference to the how of Jesus' birth. As we heard Paul write, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent his Son, born of a woman, born under the law." Paul's reminding us here that Jesus was indeed born of a woman. When God sent his Son to us, he didn't beam Jesus down to us. God didn't teleport Jesus to us. God didn't stick Jesus in a pod and shoot him down to the earth's surface like Superman. Although Jesus' conception was miraculous, he was born in the normal human way. Jesus was born of a woman. Jesus was born in the blood and the pain and the mess of real human life. And so he truly became one of us. St. Paul also reminds us that Jesus was born under the law. This might sound like a strange thing to say about Jesus' birth, but what Paul is saying here is that Jesus was born into our predicament. We live under the thumb of God's law. We live under its judgment, its accusation, its condemnation, because we have not kept it. We have not kept God's law. And so although Jesus himself was sinless, he was born into our spiritual situation. He was born into our predicament. Jesus was born under the law. Even here, Paul doesn't dwell too much on the how of Jesus' birth. He wants to get right to the why of it all, to what it means for us. And Paul reminds us that he was born in this manner, that he was born of a woman, that he was born under a law, in order to get to that why as soon as possible. Jesus was born to redeem those who were under the law. That means you and me. Jesus was born so that we might receive adoption as God's children, so that we might know God intimately and lovingly as our Abba, which is Aramaic for daddy. It's kind of like baby talk. It's this really intimate talk. And we get to address God in that way because of Jesus. That's why he was born in the way that he was. So Paul doesn't say too much about the how of Jesus' birth, but he sure gets what it all means. And it is good news for all of us. Thanks be to God, and Merry Christmas to all of you. Just about a bit of housekeeping before I sign off. I'm going to be on vacation now from January 4th through the 18th. I'm going to be around a little bit around the church to do some administrative stuff and to provide some tech support for our Sunday services. But otherwise, I'm going to spend some time resting and recharging, especially the creative side of my brain. I'm also going to try to spend some time with my oldest son before we put him back on the airplane to Texas A&M. He goes back to college on the 16th. So there will be no word on Wednesday for the next couple of weeks. Just wanted you to know that so you're not wondering about it or worrying about me. I'm going to take some time off over the next couple of weeks. Then we'll get back at it later on in January. Blessings. Take care.